Hollywood has a perception problem. What was once an industry of respect, admiration, and mystery has become a punchline, a joke, and a mockery of true human expression. Over the better part of the previous decade, Hollywood has watched as its influence has dwindled little by little due to a combination of overexposure, arrogance, and a disconnection from reality. Where once a movie star could move the needle and bring in an audience based on nothing more than their reputation and stardom, we now find ourselves facing the once unthinkable. The movie star is dead. What happened? How did this come about? I think the primary culprits behind Hollywood's decline are the proliferation of social media and entertainment media, the bloating of production studio budgets, and the election and re-election of Donald Trump. Back in the heyday of Hollywood, movie stars weren't distant and insulated from the public. Actors were mysterious and separate from the everyday dealings of the average person. They almost weren't even seen as people, but more like ideas. They were movie stars. Back in that time, most people only ever saw or heard of celebrities in a couple of different instances, and that helped to cultivate an air of secrecy and obscurity. The first was part of a press junket tour associated with the release of a movie. These were usually directed toward the project, and the star's main goal was to engender affinity for themselves and the project in order to get people to go see it. The studios had invested a lot of money in the project and the actor, and the stars viewed it as their responsibility to do whatever they could to get people to go see it. These generally consisted of a net positive for the Hollywood star, as softball question after softball question was offered up, consisting of such hard-hitting questions as, "What's this movie about?" or "Why should people go see it?" We might even get a, "What did you like most about working with so-and-so" pop-up. Very surface level, but mainly positive. The second way is close to the first, the actual projects themselves. People go to see movies that have the movie stars in them, and unconsciously they attribute their like of the movie to the stars themselves. This is particularly true for actors and actresses that play to a type a lot. John Wayne played a lot of rugged, tough cowboy characters, so people would often associate those characteristics with the man himself. We see this notion carried over in the I Love Lucy episode, where John Wayne plays himself, or a characterized version of himself, who is tough and no nonsense. Movies, whether good or bad, usually had a net positive for the general public's like of a celebrity. The third way that people got a good look at a celebrity was through deep dive interviews in magazines like People, or the television form sit-down interviews with Barbara Walters or Oprah. These highly choreographed interviews existed for one reason: to make the subject look good. This was often done through delving into the celebrity's past to provide context for their life, or revealing some traumatic moment intended to make them look all the more relatable. People would walk away from these interviews thinking, "Wow, they're a lot like me. I sure do like them." Once again, these were net positives for the Hollywood star. The fourth way that people were able to interact with celebrities was through award shows. This was the highlight of the celebrity life. For one night, they were able to dress in exotic, expensive fashion and walk a red carpet where everyone around them was focused just on them, snapping pictures, seeking a word, any word, and pressing in close just to breathe the same air as these special people. What are you wearing? Which after party will you be attending? Who do you think will win? Questions peppered in from all sides, everyone eagerly wanting to know what they thought, and the general public gathered around their televisions just to get a glimpse at these movie stars. There was a time when people would eagerly tune in to the Oscars to see Billy Crystal's hijinks and find out who would win Best Actor or Actress. These were undeniable positives for the movie stars, and heavily fed into their pride, arrogance, and delusions of grandeur. The fifth of the classic ways regular people got to see celebrities was through paparazzi photos, or, even worse, security cam footage from them shoplifting or doing some other equally dumb thing. These humanized the celebrities, making them more relatable, but also keeping them disconnected from the everyday person. For the most part, these were net positives, but only just barely. So what changed? What took all of these positive things that would seem to only benefit Hollywood and turned them so severely against it? I propose it was the proliferation of social media and the expansion of a 24-hour media news cycle. Prior to the introduction of platforms like Twitter, our interaction with celebrities was limited to the aforementioned instances. If there was no new movie coming out and no deep dive interviews were being conducted, most celebrities were hidden away from the general public outside of award season. We knew next to nothing about these people or what they thought about things. People could create ideas in their head about what the Hollywood stars were like, mainly based upon the roles they played. Then, Along came social media and allowed these celebrities to send out their thought almost instantaneously for all the world to see. And we realize that these are horrible people with dumb opinions. Anyone who has spent 30 seconds on this channel knows of my love for Star Wars. It is my favorite media franchise by a mile. Mark Hamill is limited as a physical live-action actor, but he played Luke Skywalker really well. Left at that, Hamill would have gone down in film history as playing one of the most iconic characters in the history of the industry. But then, he got a second chance of a lifetime. Further investigation of my channel will show that after Star Wars, my next favorite fictional franchise is Batman, who is actually my favorite character in all of fiction. After being typecast as Luke Skywalker, Hamill turned his career to voice acting, and was fortunate enough to become the quintessential voice and depiction of the Joker in Batman the Animated Series. If not for Twitter, Mark Hamill would probably spend the rest of his life being fondly remembered by most all fans of his work. But he cannot get out of his own way, feeling the need to make his opinion on world events, particularly pertaining to Donald Trump, more on this in a moment, known to all. His tweets routinely drip with contempt for those who disagree with him, regardless of whether or not they are potential customers. This is the story with countless celebrities. Mark Ruffalo has depicted himself as a crusader against climate change, calling for idiotic responses and policies, all while showing himself to be a massive hypocrite through his social media presence. I enjoyed the earlier MCU movies, but every time Ruffalo popped up on the screen, I was just reminded of what a buffoon he is in real life. Robert De Niro is one of the best actors in the world, but his political takes have encompassed his entire being. The fact of the matter is that man, as a fallen creature, is unable to handle the ability to broadcast his immediate thoughts to all the world. It is not a responsibility man is equipped to exercise. Coupled with near instantaneous communication of their innermost thoughts, a media apparatus has developed over the last 10 to 15 years that is solely focused on the entertainment industry. These channels and shows are designed to discuss and dissect every single bit of minutia, every piece of gossip, every relationship, every opinion, every rumor, turning it inside and out, reviewing it from every angle, and fully wringing every bit of significance and meaning from it before tossing it aside and moving on to the next. There is nothing that escapes notice or discussion on these shows. I've inadvertently happened upon some of these programs and found myself enthralled by the sheer idiocy of some of the things discussed. I find myself wondering what the heck I just watched and why anyone cares about the issues raised. Basically, these two items, the increase of social media and the growth of the entertainment industry, have created the problem: overexposure. Part of what made Hollywood so alluring during its heyday was the mystery, the scarcity of news and interaction. The fact of the matter is that we see and hear from these people far too much, and we're tired of them. Ubiquity breeds familiarity. Familiarity leads to normalcy. Normalcy allows us to relate to them. As we relate more, we're able to better judge. These Hollywood celebrities have now been judged. They have been weighed and measured, and they have been found wanting. A second reason that Hollywood has lost its perception is because it has lost its perspective. Acting is a great profession. I love movies and television, and those things can only be possible with actors and actresses. A good actor, a truly good actor, can do the near impossible. Pretend to be someone else and make others care about this manufactured persona. This is truly an amazing feat. Quentin Tarantino has said that he prefers using film over digital because using film allows a bit of magic to occur, where you take hundreds of pictures and turn them into what looks like a moving image. I contend that a similar magic occurs when a truly gifted actor takes on a role and really becomes that character. However, acting isn't a terribly important profession. As some have put it, actors are professional pretenders. Actors can elicit a whole range of emotions from their audience, but in the end they are participating in glorified make-believe. This becomes all the clearer when compared to the compensation granted for the work. Relative to what they do, the fame and fortune given to actors is vastly inflated. Some of the inflation in actor salaries is due to the bloated nature of production studio budgets. If you have tons of money to spend, salaries will naturally increase. Accompanying these exploding salaries is the 24-hour media news industry I mentioned earlier, which constantly serves to feed into the egos of these people who are being overpaid for what they do. So imagine you're a professional pretender. You're overpaid for what you do, and there's an entire industry built around following your every move and reporting to the general public as if it's actually important. It's easy to understand how one's ego might be inflated by this attention and material gain. This has led to their disconnection from everyday people. This was no more evident than during the COVID-19 pandemic in the Summer of Hate, where celebrities went through elaborate performances to take the blame for the hatred in the country, or chided Americans for not staying sequestered in their homes during the quarantine. Finally, Hollywood's perception took a big hit due to the election and subsequent re-election of Donald Trump to the United States presidency. Donald Trump's victory in 2016 truly broke Hollywood. The prevailing belief in the majority of elite circles of which Hollywood is a part believed that there was no chance for him to win, and his victory was met with tantrums, tirades, and threats to leave the country. This hatred for, by all objective standards, a moderate politician suddenly began to infect as many Hollywood productions as possible. Suddenly, every villain was a barely veiled caricature of Trump, as hating older white businessmen suddenly came into vogue. This disdain began to cascade into the previous two issues we've spoken of, as social media was replete with written and recorded outbursts, and entertainment media highlighted these fits. They only served to further alienate Hollywood from the public on which they were reliant. President Trump was defeated in the 2020 election, and Hollywood rejoiced as the evil centrist was finally gone. For the next 4 years, Hollywood and the elite took their victory lap. They had won, and now was their time to impose their will on the rest of the country. Studios went far left, dripping with leftist ideology, DEI policies, and intersectional feminism. Looking back now, it really seems that Hollywood overplayed its hand. The MCU took center stage and fell flat on its face. Star Wars went the Force is female and absolutely collapsed. Disney hired men to play fairy godmothers. On second thought, this might just be a Disney problem. Something to think about. Hiring quotas were instituted, and the awards were given diversity requirements. Hollywood went all in, and the public soundly rejected it. Then, in 2024, the unthinkable happened again. Donald Trump was reelected to the presidency. The existential crisis started anew. Hollywood celebrities began pulling out their hair, insulting half their audience, and fleeing from anything that could possibly offend them. All of their attempts to get an unqualified, unlikable person elected, throwing all of their reputation and clout into endorsement videos and live appearances, had failed in epic fashion. Hollywood rolled the dice on their ideology and is now in full-on freefall. The industry is collapsing, and they have no solutions. The allure of Hollywood has melted away, and we see them for what they are. To be fair, this is not a universal issue. There are a handful of celebrities who understand their role in society and who they rely on. The solution of Hollywood in this problem is found in the example set by these few stars. Make good stuff. Show gratitude to the audience, and keep your opinions to yourself. Unfortunately, I'm not sure many in Hollywood can do this. Only time will tell. What do you think? Can Hollywood recover from its self-inflicted freefall? Has the Hollywood era passed? Let me know down below. Thanks for watching.